Hey, welcome to Retro Game Club Podcast Season 3, Episode 26, and this is also Episode 98. We're really getting up there. I am Rob. With me is someone that has horrible collision detection, Hugh.
Yeah, I bump into stuff all the time. Sometimes I take damage when unrelated things in my house collide, so...
You know, that reminds me. I saw a Reddit thing once of people listing what they think... like, what in real life would take off one hit point? You know, like stepping on a Lego, is that one hit point? Mouthwash is definitely one hit point. It depends on your max
hit points, right? Like, for me, like, what would take off one hit point for me is probably less than what would take off one hit point for The Rock.
Yeah. I just pictured, like, Mega Man hit points, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think of what else they had on there. Maybe hot sauce is one hit point, or a shot of tequila. That might be 5 hit points.
Yeah, for me that would be. You know, I've certainly lost a lot of hit points from eating something too spicy. That's true.
You lose hit points the next day too. It's like getting poisoned in yeast or something.
Yeah. I'm not sure what. I haven't really injured myself lately. At least. No, that's true. When's the last time I injured myself in any way? The dumbest way I ever got injured was like, I was vacuuming the bedroom, and I left the vacuum in the bedroom because, I don't know, I was tired and I had young kids. So this was obviously a long time ago. And I go to bed, and then in the middle of the night, it's like 2 or 3 in the morning when my kids just start screaming that they're going to throw up, which also that loses hit points.
Oh, no.
So I just go to I just run because I want to get them out of their bed and into the bathroom. And I forgot the vacuum was there. And I actually kicked it hard enough to launch it into the air, off the ground. And all my kid out, turns out they were fine. And then the next morning I'm like, I think I broke my foot.
Oof.
Yeah. I did not go to the doctor for that. I
feeling.
probably should have. But I literally had to take the laces out of my shoes for a couple weeks.
Oh.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I probably should have gone to the doctor for that one. But that's just how, I don't know. Are you the type that doesn't go to the doctor if you think you break something? Or do you go to the doctor?
I go to the doctor for everything now. Like, now meaning after I turned 35, but I probably went 15 years with not a checkup, nothing.
Yeah.
What do you got going on?
Let's see here. I heard a rumor that we have the new social media thing that we're supposed to plug.
Really?
Yeah.
Did I hear this rumor?
Yeah, I think you did. Yeah. So I guess Zach set up a Instagram page. I don't know the handle of the page though. Is it Retro Game Club?
Oh man, I totally forgot he did that. I have no idea what it is.
Oh no.
So
I sent him 40 pictures of game collection stuff or screenshots or scans I never posted. So the kind of stuff you'll find on the Instagram page, assuming the handle, let's assume for a minute the handle is Retro Game Club or something adjacent to that. Well, it'll have photos of I photographed some kind of rare items that some kind of rare gaming items, some common gaming items. What else? A lot of screenshots and a lot of scans that I did not post on my site. So go check that out. I think over the next few months we'll have some pretty cool stuff there. Hopefully, our Game Club games, maybe we'll have some screenshots of those out there too. So hoping it'll be fun. I've never been on Instagram. Have you?
Yeah, I like it better than Facebook and stuff because it's just photos. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So there's not much garbage there, I guess, unless you seek it out.
Okay.
Just so you know, I turned down my resolution here, make sure my computer's running fine.
Okay.
But yeah, nothing wrong with Instagram, even though it's still owned by Facebook. But
yeah,
they haven't ruined it too much yet.
Let's see what else I got going on. So this is probably the last update on this topic, but there's another video about the analog TV situation. You know, I'm really fascinated by this. So I got a video here to the Antenna Man who did, I linked to before, but he got viewers of his channel to send in clips of their local analog stations shutting down, because we actually hit the shutdown date, the date you now legally have to close the stations down. And a number of them were actually just running music, and one of them was using the Atari video music system, which I forgot existed until this video.
Nice. Yes.
Yeah. I really want to get one of these. What else did I put on here? Just was reading about the Polymega. I know we haven't talked about it too much, but there's an article basically they are blaming their latest delays on the newest COVID uptick. And that reminded me of a question. Did you pre-order a Polymega?
Shockingly, I did not. And I would have, because the whole point of them was it was going to be, the first real FPGA emulator thing. Yeah. And then they couldn't really pull that off. So now it's just software emulation. I guess they're, doing a lot for Sega Saturn emulation, getting it running really good. So that's cool. But again, I have a computer and unfortunately an Atari VCS that I can emulate on, and a Vita I can emulate on, and probably a Steam Deck. So I don't think I need a Polymega.
Yeah, I was sort of intrigued by it because I thought, maybe like the TurboGrafx module would be kind of neat because I already have like HD adapters for the Sega CD, so I don't need that. I thought maybe it would be nice to get like a good like Turbo Duo upscaler. But I don't know. I'm gonna wait till I actually see it in the store. I kind of just don't trust them.
But also, Analog's coming out with the Duo that will be a TurboGrafx thing, which will probably be way better.
Wasn't there supposed to be a pre-order for the Analog portable, or did we already talk about that and like only scalpers bought it? I don't even remember. I gave up on trying to get an Analog system.
Zach got one, I think. And then the Duo hasn't been pre-ordered yet, but it's only $199, which we'll get back to that price in a minute. That's a pretty amazing price.
Yeah. If I can actually buy that one, I would.
Yeah, I would love the Pocket, though. That would be nice.
Yeah. And then, I think I mentioned last week, I'm trying to work through my gaming backlog. So I started Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, which I know everybody else played 15 years ago, but I'm just getting around to now. And I'm just going to go through my initial impressions here, and then I'll shut up for a while. I like that it's like pretty much open from the beginning. Like the whole map isn't open, but a big portion of it is. And
oh yeah,
there's kind of no restrictions, so that's cool. Let's see, bad. There's this system where you have to like win gang territory and then defend it from constant attacks, which is something they also did in Vice City Stories, and I did not like in that game either. Good. It's 1992 soundtrack, which of course, there's a rule that whatever your senior year in high school was, that's the best year ever for music. So I'm enjoying that one. Let's see, bad. I really don't like a lot of the early missions. There's one I probably had to try 20 times before I could get it. And like the game engine, I think it's a big upgrade from Vice City. Seems like it's almost on par with Bully, which I think is the last game using the PS2 Grand Theft Auto engine. But really the worst part is like the amount of stat maintenance you have to do. Like, you have to go lift weights, and you have to run on a treadmill, and you have to keep eating. And if you don't eat, then your character gets hungry, and then you start to lose energy. And then you get like this girlfriend who's just like an objectively bad person. And if you don't go visit her like every day, then your relationship meter goes down. And I'm like, I don't want to deal with any of this. I'm not going to visit the girlfriend anymore. She can, I don't know. I end up losing the game because of that. I don't care. And it sort of reminded me, I was listening to, Nintendo has an official podcast. And when Breath of the Wild came out, they were talking to some of the developers from Breath of the Wild. And they mentioned that an early scrapped idea for Breath of the Wild was having a hunger meter.
Oh,
so, like, Link would have to just constantly eat. Like, oh, no, thank you for
like Adventure Island. Oh, man.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm like, make your games less like The Sims. Like, Grand Theft Auto doesn't need to be The Sims.
Yeah.
So, overall, I'm enjoying the game. Yeah. I will probably finish it. I haven't gotten to, like, a mission that has made me want to rage quit yet. So, overall, it's good. Liking it. What about you? What have you been up to?
Oh, man, let's see. Not too much. I've been watching a bunch of Twitch. It's been pretty addictive. There's been a lot of cool there's been a lot of cool competitions and stuff, speedrunning competitions and stuff, just for fun or charity. Pretty fun stuff. And other than that, my Terra Onion Super HD System 3 Pro arrived. It really rolls off the tongue.
Yeah.
And what that is an adapter that plugs onto the back of your TurboGrafx, and it gives you there's an FPGA in there, and there's a micro SD card, so it's kind of like an EverDrive thing that runs off the back of the TurboGrafx that lets you play all your ROMs, including CD, CD2. What do you call those? CDs? The CD square ones? Super CD.
Super CD2? Super CD-ROM 2?
Yes, that's it. Something like that.
Yeah, there's CD-ROM 2 and there's Super CD-ROM 2 and then arcade, and it's a very confusing system to play.
Yes, and then the Super Graphics stuff too. So all of that built in, which is really nice. So I'm really excited for that. But ironically, when I got my modded Turbo Duo, I put my TurboGrafx in a box, and I do not know which box it is in. So let the hunt begin. Because I figured, why, now that I have a Turbo Duo with an EverDrive and RGB out, why would I ever need this TurboGrafx ever again? So in a box. Now, it's better than my Turbo Duo. So I'm really excited to play that, especially since the Analog Duo probably won't come out for a while. Even if pre-orders started tomorrow, we're probably looking 8 months out. So excited to pick some more TurboGrafx games for Game Club, but that's really about it. A little neurovirus type thing went through my family, so we were all kind of either I was taking care of kids puking or I was not feeling well myself. So it was, man, really first time getting sick in like 2 years is rough, man. It is worse than you remember.
Yeah. Stomach flu. I mean, I went a long time without getting that, and then I had kids, and then we got it every couple of years, and it's pretty devastating.
And yeah, when I take him back to school when he was better, people would be dropping off their kids at the same time, and they'd be like, "Oh, we haven't seen Sally in a few days," and they were like, "Oh, she's been under the weather." So I'm sure all the kids had the same thing they were spreading around.
Yeah. The great thing is, you don't actually get like a permanent immunity to it. You can re-catch the same strain after like 6 months, which is about how long it takes to work through an entire school building and back around. So.
Yeah. So yeah, that's about it. So well, I guess we should talk about some retro news, maybe.
Yeah. So first one here is an article about collision detection. We've mentioned this site a couple of times. Nicole.express has an article about the collision detection in ALF for the Sega Master System, which is it's a very interesting piece. So ALF for Sega Master System is one of the few, if not the only, Sega Master System game that uses the hardware collision detection feature in the Sega Master System. And because nobody uses it, it behaves differently on different models of the Master System and definitely different emulators. Did you understand why at all? Like the nitty gritties of it? Like they talk about... Yeah, because okay. The funny thing about this, if you ever want to make sure your article gets mentioned on our podcast, if you're looking for that like prestigious honor, right? All you have to do is link to something I wrote, right? So this article actually links to my article about the Sega Genesis collision detection. So Sega Genesis, they use some similar hardware to the Master System, and they carried this feature over into the Sega Genesis, even though it's useless. The article I wrote was like about, here's how the feature works, and here's why it's useless. So basically, in the Sega Genesis and Master System VDP, there's a flag that tells you whether or not any sprites have collided in that frame. It doesn't tell you which sprites collided, though. It just basically is a flag that gets set if the non-transparent space of any two sprites have overlapped. Mm-hmm. Okay. So any non-transparent pixels overlap between two sprites. You then have to write code to go and figure out which 2 sprites it was. Which, since you already have to write that code, why would you even check that flag in the first place? You would just go through and run your routine to check for sprite collision on it, right? So that's kind of what this is about. But then it goes into why on some emulators some emulators didn't implement the feature at all, and other emulators it just behaves differently. And then even as they talk about, it's like different hardware variations seem to behave differently. And so the consequence of that is that when you play Alf, sometimes Alf will take damage when 2 sprites that are not Alf hit each other. So
Okay, yeah.
because they're using, I think the game is probably designed so they weren't ever expecting 2 sprites to run into each other, but like there's cases where like the sprite will hit like your life meter and Alf will take damage.
Okay, yeah. And it's an instant die, too. So I watch Darbian on Twitch. I recommend anyone who's interested in watching anything retro or trying to get into Twitch, Darbian is a great place to start. He just got back into it. It's really low-key. And he does mostly Alf on Sega Master System. It doesn't have great collision detection on any system, on Master System or the power-based converter. And it's really frustrating, but, it's still a fun game to watch. But he linked to this article if you type a command in Twitch. And I was like, oh, man, the guys are going to be really impressed that I got this article in so early. And I linked to it before I read it. I'm like, I'm just going to put it in our show notes. And it was already there. I couldn't believe you got to it before me, but you must have seen it in your link backs or something.
No, I subscribed to the blog because they post all kinds of articles like this.
Okay. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I didn't even catch it for like it had been out like 3 or 4 days before I read it.
Yeah, it's a great article, and this person put a lot of work into something that is niche of a niche of a niche,
By the way, Alpha on eBay, like if you ever look for that game, it is like one of the most expensive Master System games.
Huh. Well, it was kind of late in the Master System. Yeah, it was late in the Master System, 89. It's really not a horrible game, but it's definitely not one of the best ones. It's not good. It's not great. It has fantastic
music. There's one copy for sale right now. It's $306. Buy it now.
That's insane. That is insane. It does have fantastic music, though. I will say that. And you could beat it in about 5 minutes. I've seen them do it many times. What else? ROMhacking.net. We have a Hudson's Adventure Island 2 ROM hack that makes it Hudson's Wintry Adventure Island 2.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No, I was just gonna say, so it's pretty much the same game except more white than green, I guess.
Yeah, I kind of like games that change the setting to winter or make them Christmas themed. Like there was a Final Fantasy for NES Christmas hack that really did nothing other than make all the characters look like they were in Christmas outfits. That's pretty fun.
Yeah, we should do a Christmas episode this year. I don't think we've actually... We've done Black Friday. Yeah, we've never done a Christmas episode.
We did a Christmas catalog once, I think.
Oh, you're right, a Sears catalog. That's right,
something like that, yeah. Yeah, the thing that we have to remember to do, which we're probably going to forget to do, is the GameCube 20th anniversary episode.
Yes. I should put that in my calendar.
Yeah.
November, I think.
I think it's November, yeah.
Yeah, good call. Because I think we almost forgot Donkey Kong and another one. Game Boy or something.
Yeah. What else do we got here? This is also in the ROM hacking section. Guitar Hero recreated within Super Mario 64. So a Super Mario 64 hack that adds Guitar Hero.
It turns it into Guitar Hero. So I think it pretty much just takes the engine. It has nothing there's no Mario or anything in this.
Yeah.
I think it just takes the engine and makes it into Guitar Hero. And this is really impressive. Obviously there's not enough space on a Nintendo 64 cart for any meaningful music tracks. So it's kind of MIDI-ish, but it is very, very impressive. good work to the guys that did this. Arctic Jaguar 725 is the name of this person. And it's on GitHub too, before it gets taken down.
Before it gets taken down. Yes.
Have you ever played Guitar Hero?
No.
It's fun. It's fun. And that stuff, those pieces of plastic people threw out in bulk, and now it's very expensive, even at like Goodwill.
Yeah, I never liked rhythm games. I don't know. I don't think I ever played one I really got into.
Let's see. We got a 3-year progress report on the Vita emulator, Vita 3K. And it's just kind of, like it says, a progress report. And this thing is really impressive. I mean, the Vita is not a simple system. It doesn't use like OpenGL or something. It has its own library, GXM, that they had to completely write an API for. The only thing that's really missing is a good sound library, and that's next on their list. And we're getting really close to being able to emulate the Vita, which is kind of fun. I don't know how you're going to do the back touch panel thing, but
not a lot of games use that. Or at least I haven't played many that do.
I'm trying to think of ones that did that I played. I don't even know if Gravity Rush really did.
Yeah, I mean, the Katamari Damacy game does, but I really never used that feature.
No, I tried it once, and it didn't do anything. It just squeezed your Katamari ball, right?
Right, yeah. Changes the shape of the Katamari.
I didn't use that much, but so pretty cool. The next one you posted.
Yes, in our Doom Running on Things section. This is a new article about Doom. It was a very, very short article, so I just linked directly to the video. And it's Doom running on a rotating CRT monitor. So this is a monitor that was made, I had the year down, it was early 90s, where you could rotate the monitor and it would be in, that's portrait mode, as opposed to landscape mode. It's from 1991 is where this is from. And I guess you could get like Windows drivers that worked for it.
And DOS drivers.
Yeah. But Doom, of course, did not have that. So a developer, actually the guy that wrote the Genesis game Tanglewood, made some updates, did some Doom hacking, and added support for Doom on this rotating monitor. So now you can rotate Doom and play it in portrait mode, which just looks so weird.
Yeah, and it's funny, he couldn't get everything working, so most of it works, but every once in a while a background will kind of be doubled. But it's called Tomb because in Japanese, like the vertical shooters it's called Tate mode. You could even get a Tate mode adapter for your Switch to kind of play in that mode too. But I think another thing that's cool about this is, the videos, Lazy Game Reviews, which I like, LGR, which I just adore this. It's one of my favorite YouTube channels. It has been for probably a decade. But in his original kind of review and retrospective of this radius pivot monitor, he says like, oops, Doom doesn't work. Well, that would be cool if someone did this. And I think that's why this guy did this, simply because he saw that challenge. But what really impresses me about this monitor in general is that you can flip it, on the fly, and it updates its own drivers to the new resolution. I just think that's way ahead of its time.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I mean, look, that's a feature I can barely get working in Windows 10,
Exactly. Yeah. Or even iPhone apps sometimes still have an issue with it. Yeah, I'm glad you put this one in here. And unfortunately, I put in the next article, which is probably lame.
Kind of, yeah. It's sort of non-news.
Yeah, the holding company that owns the Atari name is making a new Food Fight game in 2022.
Yeah, but they're not making it. They're getting an actual good developer. Mega Cat Studios. They do a lot of like Genesis games. They're actually a good developer, but that's who's doing the thing. The holdings company that owns the Atari IP does not, of course, have any developers because they are a holdings company.
I wonder if they're going to pay the developers an Atari coin or whatever Bitcoin thing they do.
But this is here, of course, the thing. The game will launch first on the Atari VCS, but a Switch version is also planned.
So only people will buy the Switch version.
Right. Like I can be like, oh man, I can't wait like 2 months to play Food Fight Remake. I'm going to buy an Atari VCS.
Yeah, exactly.
And then in 5 years, they'll be releasing it on Stadia, if that's still around.
It's actually, that's funny. I keep forgetting to mention Stadia or Stadio. Yeah, it's Stadia, right? I don't even know. Anyway, it's actually doing a little bit better now. They released some reports on it, and people are starting to use it, which is kind of funny. I'm not saying it's not going to... Google's going to cancel it. They cancel everything.
Yeah.
Don't think I'm delusional about that, but it's just funny. I'm not playing it. I own 2 controllers, but I'm not playing it. But I just think it's funny that it's still kicking. In other kind of weird news, the voice actor from Donkey Kong 64, he found a bunch of his old WAV files, and he kind of goes through them in this Twitter video. It's kind of funny, but he also sends out a real apology about that Nintendo or Donkey Kong 64 Donkey Kong rap, which I totally forgot about until I watched a video of it yesterday or today. Wow, it's rough.
Awesome. I've seen worse.
Oh, there's definitely worse, but yeah, wow.
You can skip it, like no one's forcing you to watch it.
That's funny. That is funny. What else do we have here? Oh, I put this article here. This is from a while ago. I've been kind of saving this one. It's from early July. This is a Wired article. Can people still play the same games as they get older? So this is a scientific study about but how much slower your gaming response gets between like when you're 18 in your 20s and when you're 40s and 60s. And I thought this was really interesting. Okay, so when you're 18-ish, your response time is in the high 200s milliseconds. And as you get older, like 40s and 50s, it rises to about 340. So you're not losing that much. And also they did studies where people who kept gaming or started gaming, and even after a week, it got a little bit better. So a lot of that time, our excuse that we're older, so we're not as good at gaming, doesn't really have to do with age. It probably just has to do with everything else in life.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's age, it's decades of alcohol abuse, perhaps. I mean, a variety of things are going to slow down your thinking.
Yeah. And I guess practice makes perfect. So if you want to be a good gamer, it doesn't matter how old you are, just keep doing it. Oh, geez, this next one is mine too. A lot of these are mine. This one is kind of a joke, but I couldn't not put it here because it's one of the few articles that actually made me laugh out loud. So there's a new game. I don't know if you know the Guilty Gear series. It's like a Street Fighter 2 series. Nope. It's not bad. It's pretty good. I've played some of the kind of Dreamcast era versions of this. But anyway, the new one is notoriously slow for load times. And someone beat Castlevania Harmony of Dissonance in less time and watched the entire credit scene in less time than it took to load Guilty Gear Strive. And they have a side-by-side video in here.
Yeah, I mean, there's some serious glitch exploitation to do that.
But still, it's over a minute and a half that it takes it to load. And in this day and age, that's an eternity.
Right, I would already forget what game I started by the time it finished loading. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. We're not in the era of PS1 single-speed CD drives anymore. This next article I almost cut because it's really misleading, but it's kind of a cool game that people should probably try, so I figured just listen in here just to talk about the game for a second. So this is on Kotaku. Folks think The Sims 2 on Nintendo DS is haunted. And they really don't. But the game is just really creepy. Like, kind of like he thinks Rygar's kind of creepy, and
Yeah.
I think this kind of has King's Quest V kind of vibes, but yeah, it's just hard. Like the whole premise of the game is just weird, and there's like hit bosses, like mob bosses, and aliens, and just a lot of creepy stuff going around. And so, if you have a DS, maybe check this game out just to see.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, this is just like it's an article about a Reddit thread. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
But for something really cool, all right, here's something good. Play MP3 in WAV files on your Atari 8-bit computer. So this is about an app that does audio conversion, and you can actually convert it to a format where it is like a something that can be played on an Atari 8-bit computer. So if that's how you want to listen to music, I assume you can fit like one song per disc.
If that, yeah. And we should mention this is Atari Projects, so that's Jason Moore, who we've had on the show before.
Yeah.
Very, very nice and cool individual.
Yep. And they have a link out to all the source code too.
So Output Media, have you heard of any of these audio formats?
Nope.
Yeah, Ramzex. How do you pronounce XEX?
Well,
Zex?
well, yeah, sure.
And the cart.
XE, yeah, Mega Cart. Yeah, I think these are all different Atari computer formats, but I'm not. I mean, the XEGS.
Oh, okay, I see now.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the file type is a CAR or a RAW file.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Interesting. Cool, very cool.
And we got two more things here. Print Shop. So yeah, I heard about this site. I was debating whether to put this in the notes too. That there's a new site that is called the Print Shop Club. It's actually called theprintshop.club, which I did not realize was a valid domain extension. And you can play with Print Shop in your browser.
Yeah, did you have Print Shop as a kid?
No, I did not. I don't think I had a printer until I was like college age.
We always had the office in the house, so there's always something printing, and man, Print Shop ate up a lot of our it wasn't toner, it was ribbon ink.
Yeah.
Let's see. And yeah, I think this is the last one. So Zach posted this one. Google's Doodle Champion Island Games is a retro throwback, and I heard two other podcasts talk about this. This was, Google Doodle's that thing at the top of each, Google search that if you click on it does something. Well, this launches like a full retro, like 16-bit style game that is just way better than it should be. Way more thought out than it should be.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to look at this. Does this look pretty neat though?
Yeah. So, luckily, it's still on. They're big ones like this. Google has a Doodles kind of back catalog page that you could go back and play their stuff. Like they had like Pac-Man's birthday, and stuff on there, so you could go back. And this one will definitely be there. But very, very impressive artwork and gameplay and game design, and just all around impressive. So I really think everyone should check this out. I mean, it really has GBA vibes to it. And there's our news. You want to start out the game club?
Yeah. What games did we pick again? Oh, Junior Pac-Man. Yeah. Yeah. It's been a long time since I played this game until this past week. So I played a little bit of the Atari 2600 version, and I played it on MAME. So Junior Pac-Man is, a sort of a late 2D Pac-Man game. And, the premise is you're now playing as the kid that Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man apparently had, however it is that happens. And it has scrolling. That's the biggest difference. It's a bigger maze with more energizers and a scrolling screen, which you think would make the game easier, but it's actually, I think, possibly harder because I get blindsided by ghosts a lot.
And there's no tunnels either.
And there's no tunnels, right? And then the prize, like the you get the bonus like fruit, but instead of fruit, it's some sort of toy. Like you're eating a whole bicycle. Don't know how that works. I just know that he's able to eat a whole bicycle. And the thing about that is that as it moves through the screen, it makes the dots fatter, for lack of a better term. So the dots are now worth, any dots it crosses over, it kind of enlarges them. And they're now worth more points, but Junior Pac-Man moves like half speed through them. So there's a bit of trade-off. Like, do you want to try and rack up more points, or do you just want to clear the stage? I usually just want to clear the stage. I'm not really concerned about points.
Yeah.
That's about it. I mean, it's a really fun game. I actually really do like it. I just I tend to die in really cheap ways a lot by not tracking where ghosts might have gone off screen and then just running right into one. And then also given the size of the maze, like sometimes you will just like you'll get all the way to like to the right side of the board and the ghosts are on the left side of the board. And you'll clear a lot of the maze, but the energizers at that point are kind of useless. Right? Because the ghosts are nowhere near you. So you either have to wait for them to come back to you, or you have to lure them back over, or just eat the energizer and forget about, catching any ghosts.
Where would you kind of rank this in your Pac-Man games? Like compared to like Miss Pac-Man, and what was the last one we played that we kind of like? Was that Super Pac-Man?
We did Super Pac-Man. So I would put Junior Pac-Man above Super Pac-Man.
Really?
Yeah. Super Pac-Man just isn't very deep. Like the maze is always the same. Obviously the key pattern, like which keys unlock which doors, that changes. But I think Super Pac-Man gets repetitive faster. I think Miss Pac-Man I still rank first, and then I would put Junior Pac-Man somewhere around original Pac-Man. It's actually kind of hard to say, because the original Pac-Man kind of has the same issue where it's always the same maze, so it can get old after a while, whereas Junior Pac-Man just kind of feels like it's fresher.
Yeah.
That makes sense. It's definitely
sense.
above Baby Pac-Man. Baby Pac-Man is probably last.
It has the worst looking ghosts, and it has the worst ghost AI out of all the Pac-Mans. Baby Pac-Man does.
Yeah. It's an El Camino, right? It's not a serviceable arcade game or pinball game. It's the worst of both worlds.
Yeah.
It's the Dodge Rampage of video games, perhaps. Sorry if that's a really deep car reference. So it's around regular Pac-Man, below Miss Pac-Man. I'd put it above, definitely below. It's above like Pac and Pal. And I don't know if we're getting into Pac-Land, but it's well above Pac-Land.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there, yeah. Maybe what's the Lego Pac-Man game? Which one was that?
Pac-Mania?
Pac-Mania. Yeah, it's kind of, I put it maybe around Pac-Mania.
Yeah, that's a pretty good game.
Yeah, it's pretty good, but you have the same problem where ghosts will just kind of pop up out of nowhere.
Yeah, I'm reading that this also was the kind of nail in the coffin of the terminating the agreements between Namco and Bally Midway.
Oh, okay.
That's it. We're done. So I only played this on MAME, and yeah, it wasn't bad. I did not play the 2600 or any other port. Wow, it had an MS-DOS port. That'd be an interesting
that
one
MS-DOS
to check
port
out.
is terrible.
Shocking.
It's nowhere near, it's not even close to as good as the 2600 version. It's a shockingly bad port to DOS.
Wow. Well, cool. Yeah, this is a good one to, I want to say get back to, but I honestly don't ever remember playing this in an arcade.
Yeah, I have played it in an arcade. I for sure have played it, because the first time I think I ever saw it was in an arcade. But again, it's just sort of like a post-crash game, so I didn't see it in an arcade in like 1984. I saw it in an arcade, like as an adult, like a bar game.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
Kind of strangely, I don't see this on a lot of collections. Perhaps because of the whole like Namco licensing thing, right? It could be a licensing issue. Same reason like Miss Pac-Man doesn't appear on some collections.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, maybe that's why I forgot about it too. Any closing thoughts on that one?
Nope. Just I definitely recommend it. I think it's a very fun Pac-Man game overall.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Yeah, would you just recommend the MAME?
I would say MAME, yeah. There's we linked to the 5200 version, but I don't think that's really realistic for most people to play.
Okay.
Because you don't have unless you have a 5200. I guess you can emulate it. But if you're already going to emulate it, then just emulate the arcade version.
And if you have a 5200, likely you don't have a 5200 joystick because they all broke. All the joysticks in the world broke.
Yeah, you would need to get an actual digital joystick and not the default one.
Yeah. Well, I did Cotton Fantastic Night Dreams. And this is a, 1991 side-scrolling cute-em-up, I guess you would call it. And you play Cotton, who is a witch, and I don't know, something happens, like darkness and crystals or something. I don't know. They tell you in the beginning, and it's actually kind of cute and endearing the way they tell the story. But this little fairy says, hey, Cotton, you witch, will you help us? You have the power to help us. And she says no. And she says, well, we'll give you a bunch of willows, and willows are candy. And so this witch is like, oh, heck yeah. So she's addicted to candy, and you don't even know if Cotton's a good witch. You just know she's a witch, and she's going to save the world only because she's getting paid in candy. And as you get through each level, you could get a few more fairies to help you. So you're riding, I should step back here. You're riding on a broomstick, and you're shooting, monsters and stuff that are coming at you. It's kind of, it's a side-scrolling shooter, like, Gradius or Life Force or something, but cute. And your fairy you can also send off by hitting a button. You could send in front of you to latch onto and attack things. If your fairy touches anything, it'll either, protect you from a bullet, or it'll hurt the thing it touches. Like I said, you could get more than one of them. I think you could get up to 4. Anyway, as you shoot enemies, they sometimes drop crystals, and you can grab those for power-ups, which I think in the original you have 2 magical powers, I think. Like the blue one, which I think is lightning, and the red one, which I think is fire. I think the yellow crystals, if I'm remembering right, upgrade your regular shooter. Like your pea shooter just gets a little bit better and better and better. And like most games, if you die, you lose some of your powers, but you can, quickly get those crystals back. So I played this on the Switch because the remake came out. That I'm going to start with the remake, the HD remake. It's totally a different game, and it is freaking fantastic. It's not as difficult as the old ones. Its music is great. It's the exact same story, kind of like the like the Wonder Boy, recent remake kind of thing, like that kind of caliber. It adds a mechanic where if you shoot through a crystal, it amplifies your bullets and makes them stronger. So you have a reason to kind of leave those hanging in front of you for longer, and a bit more strategy there. It also has the original x86 version of this game on it, which, again, is a great game. The x86 version and the TurboGrafx CD version are pretty similar. Obviously, the TurboGrafx CD is probably the more popular one, and it has obviously better music, but the x86 has more true to the original graphics because it was in the arcade as well. And then there's newer ports of this to the PlayStation, Neo Geo Pocket Color, your mobile phone, and PS4 and Windows. And the remake moves faster. You shoot more bullets at a time, and kind of bigger sprites. It's just more of a fun game. When you go back to the originals, they are really good once you get the hang of them. It's one of those games that you really have to sit down and play and get the feel of before it becomes enjoyable. It's one of those games that's so cute you just kind of want to love. And it got really great ratings back in the day. I used to have an original of this for TurboGrafx, and I sold it for way too cheap. And I'm very, very happy that I own a physical copy now for my Switch. So what did you think of this one?
We had that article about your like reflexes get worse over age. I can't make it through the first level. I'm always been bad at shooters. Like I'm just not good at shooters to begin with. And yeah, I didn't make it through the first stage. I do like the soundtrack though. I played the Turbo Duo version and it does sound great. And I think I will put the full soundtrack on my phone and listen to it all the way through.
That's great. That's cool. Yeah. What did you think of the graphics?
I thought it looked good. I thought it looked pretty good. I probably should have tried like a different version to compare, but I thought it looked pretty. I mean, I thought the backgrounds looked really good for the time.
Yeah, yeah. And the voice acting is funny and, all that stuff. Well, cool. Yeah, I really hope a lot of our listeners actually play both these games. What are you going to play next?
I'm going to do at least a couple more weeks of arcade games here, and I'm going to do, let's see, what did I put down? Pole Position. There you go.
That's a fun one.
And you're picking a game I can't pronounce.
Yes. So I'm picking a game. I'm not going to give any background of it until next time, but it's a game called Thexter. Thexder. Thexter. It's on Apple IIGS, DOS, and I think it's on some consoles. Maybe one or two, but yeah. So if any of our listeners play Cotton or Junior Pac-Man, Thexter, Pole Position, or really any retro game, has any kind of retro or emulation news or projects you want to tell us about, if you got Doom running on something, please let us know. Email at retrogameclub.net. Please email us in 2 episodes. We have our 100th episode where we're doing our Ask Us Anything episode. So if you want to email us for that, there's some giveaways and stuff for that too. So yeah, email at retrogameclub.net. We are on Facebook, facebook.retrogameclub.net, Twitter, at RGC Podcast, and somewhere on Instagram that we'll get that together for next time. And Zach maintains now all of those sites and the bumpers.
Yes, which we appreciate because, like I said, I do not have the Instagram. My oldest kid is on it a lot, but I did not tell her to look for our page because she'll just go and like report all of our posts or something. She thinks it's funny.
Nice.
Every post she'll just say it's like harassment or something. I already know how this is going to go.
Yeah.
I'll cover listener feedback here. Majors writes in to let us know Galloping Ghost is open.
Nice.
I rearranged it. So yeah, he said he was just there a couple weeks ago. So that's great news. Rings looks harder than Pommel Horse. That's right. I was talking about Pommel Horse being harder than skateboarding.
Yes.
Boy, Rings or Pommel Horse. That's pretty tough.
I think I would go Rings. I mean, I can't do either. Let's just, get that out there.
Yeah. I think you fall farther from Rings, so it's probably worse. A couple of things we talked about. We talked about the PS1 boot logo actually being 3D. He has mentioned that a few games used to use flat, basically no Z-axis polygons for backgrounds because it was easier to do that than to do 2D textures on some games like Raiden Triad, let's call it that. Actually had 3D polygons for backgrounds, but they were rendered flat. Donkey Kong Country still looking good. He was just saying back in the day when he was playing with a friend that they compared the Super Nintendo version with just regular hookups, regular RF and composite hookups, and thinks the game was possibly optimized for RF connections. I ran it on the Switch, so whatever Nintendo did, I don't know. I have the cartridge here too, but I played the Switch version. And feedback on some of our recent Game Club games. So Tiger Heli, he played a ton. He said he really enjoyed it when it's on the NES and does not remember seeing it in the arcade. And I want to note that I never have seen Tiger Heli in the arcade.
Neither have I.
So I think it was very limited distribution in the US, or maybe it never had a US distribution. I don't know. He said the ship speed is really the hardest part, is that the ship is so slow that you tend to die a lot. Commando, he compares a little bit to Frontline, so it's like a more refined version of Frontline. And the NES version is the home port he played well. He liked the extra secret underground areas. And also wants to recommend the Intellivision port as being very well done and with a good soundtrack for the system. I missed that one.
Yeah, me too.
And Cotton definitely enjoys the game, but it gets very tough managing the power-ups, and he's never beaten it due to lack of skills. He had it for TU16, but replaced it with the Japanese version and a wad of cash. So it sold the American version, bought the much cheaper Japanese one in its place.
Yeah, you don't need to know the story. You don't need to know what they're saying or anything to play this game. You just shoot things.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks for that. Social media. Got a little bit of feedback on Cotton, mostly about the music. But someone writes in just to say they see the photo of Cotton and they can immediately start hearing the soundtrack. And then we asked for your controversial opinions about retro games or consoles. One of them, someone says they think a console is retro once the console is dead and no official titles are being produced for it anymore. That's a tough one for me because like the Wii U, like 3/4 of the Wii U library is actively being ported to Switch. So it's really hard for me to think of Wii U games as being retro. New Super Mario Brothers is better than Odyssey. Outrun on the Master System isn't as good as Rad Racer on the NES. Wii U is better than the Switch. These are all controversial opinions. Spyro is a bad Mario 64 clone.
I could go with that.
And then just generally being a fan of the TurboGrafx 16 PC Engine in an era where all your friends had Super Nintendo or Genesis.
Yeah, I was a TurboGrafx fanboy for sure. All right, is that all our social media feedback?
I think so. Yeah. Although I don't know if we have Instagram comments. Can you leave comments on Instagram? I don't even know.
I don't know.
Comment on Instagram.
I don't even.
Yeah, that would be before. I'm not trying to be like a hipster and like pretend I don't know what any of this stuff is. I legitimately have never used this app.
It's literally just short videos and pictures.
So it's Tumblr?
No, because Tumblr you could actually have like a blog and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just photos. It's not like if you post a link in it, you can't really get to the link. It would just kind of be text.
Okay. Well, people like it for some reason, so that's fine. All right, yes. So I think that is everything. Again, email at retrogameclub.net for any feedback, either on our games or just anything. You can write us about anything.
Yeah, we love talking about retro stuff, and hope you do too. So, till episode 99. Thank you.
Thanks.